Facebook Live. One person watching. Sandro. How is Sandro always first? Incredible. $42 people. Okay, we're going to talk some serious corner cutting today. We have a world champ watching. Robert wants to see what we're up to today. We've got Cody Newmandahl online. Wants to see my analysis of corner cutting, I guess. Where do we start? 100? Actually, this is the fastest, like, in 1 minute we have 85 people. 83, 87. Have you got lots of track cutting clips? That's why I was late, because I'm like, the way I am is, I think of something, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do this. And then I don't plan anything. Then when I'm supposed to do it, I'm like, shit, I didn't prepare in any way. I should probably prepare. So then that's why I'm always late. No preparation. I'll just go for it. Then when the time comes, you know, it would be way better if I showed a couple of videos. That's how it is. It's 110. Should we wait? Should we wait a couple of more minutes? While you wait, remember, I love myself some Durangos. I have a great idea for what we're going to do. We have a couple of Durangos coming in America, and I think another one here in Europe. So that's good, but we need more. And I'm talking about our exchange program, of course. So you can trade in your old crap, and we're going to give you cash money. Not really. You kind of have to buy a JQ car, and you get a discount. So up to 150 off for any other 8-scale buggy. It can be as old as your mom, I don't care. We'll give you good money for it. So, yeah, that's the deal. And for the Durangos, you get more. You get up to $200 off. Because we love Durangos. We want all of them. All 7 of them. 130. I think it's kind of, it's tapered off there. That's all we're going to get, I feel. Okay, we have Thomas, the undercover South African, Austrian African. He's very good at cutting half of the track with no one noticing. So he needs to watch this video. So it's good. Wait 3 minutes. Tom Inge Josefsen says wait 3 minutes. So I'm going to wait 3 minutes before I start. Okay? 3 minutes, and then we're going to go into some serious talk about track cutting. I'm going to mention something which is special for the Americans. The Americans always get really butthurt. Whenever I say something, I can say anything. At this point, I can say anything. And the Americans are going to get mad. Some of them. Even if it's not about America, they're still going to get offended. So now I actually have a message for them. This is something that's unique for Americans. It's about marshalling. It has to do with cutting the track. So if I forget, remind me. Someone remind me. I have to talk about something unique for Americans. Because it's going to come later on, but I might forget. So, yeah, so maybe 2 minutes now, and then we can start. I have 20 buggies. What does that get me? It's one car. I mean, you have to buy one car from us, and you exchange one old one. So if you want to buy 20 black editions or 10 black editions and 10 gray editions, go ahead. The views are dropping. No, they're not. We're up to 150. What do you mean the views are dropping? Your mom's panties are dropping. That's what's dropping. Gary says, because I hate America. That's why I'm going there in November. I'm going there. See, there's only love for JQ in America. Only love. It's like 100%, almost 100% love. And it's basically because people either love me or they love to hate me. And the way I see it, it's all love. It's good. Okay. Is Tom ready? He said to wait 3 minutes. Are you ready? Can you just message? Yes. Thank you. I'm ready. Okay, good. So we can start. I'm gonna show you a couple of videos first. Okay. I should be charging my phone, I think. Okay, let's start with some videos. Okay, you've probably seen this one. This is where it all started. Yeah, like Keenan says, share this. Wait. Let's go back here. Share this video and remember to spam Adam Drake. Okay, that's a classic now. Every time, just spam Adam Drake. Okay. Okay, let's see. Can you see now? I can't turn the phone, it will mess everything up. Okay, here we go.
Oh, there's the flip. There's the flip.
Oh yeah, everything's backwards now.
But he's pointing in the right direction again.
Okay, don't worry, it's gonna come again.
Have a look at that.
Slow motion, watch what happens.
Every time we've seen wheels in the air here, and there it is, it goes
boom.
Up, the air gets underneath, and all of a sudden
flips over, just waits a bit, and then continues.
In the lead. Oh, side by side action. Oh, there's the flip.
Flips over,
there's the flip.
Waits, continues. Boom, he's behind the same car he was behind before. Okay, then let's check another one. This one is a bit more blatant. So let's see here.
Currently in a transfer spot here, fighting with Cody King, fighting off Cody King. Over to the A-Main Performance Hobbies Canyon Gap on the left side. King to the inside. Whoa, a spectacular rollover as he tried to get past Joseph Quagraine.
Waits, and just continues behind me.
Past Cody King, landing on his wheels in the inside here, fighting with Cody
King,
let's fighting off Cody King. Over to the A-Main Performance Hobbies Canyon Gap on the left side. King to the inside. Whoa,
Cody flips,
spectacular
cuts the track,
as he tried to get past
waits
Joseph
for me,
Quagraine.
I pass him back, and then he continues behind me.
Past Cody King, landing on his wheels in the...
Okay, so I gave you 2 examples. That's really normal in RC. So someone makes a mistake. They flip over to a different section of the track. What they do is they wait. Then they continue the race in the same position they were before the mistake, or before the crash, or before the takeout, or before whatever. So first I need to tell you about this thing I came up with. Before we delve into this subject, I'm going to have to tell you a bit of a story. I've realized that normally online, even in person, what tends to happen is if I say something like, if I have a point of some sort, and it ends up in an argument every time, especially online. I'm really good at this. I have a lot of experience in arguing online. And I've come up with a good metaphor or analogy. I don't know which word really to use here, but it's an onion. So I'm going to tell you the story about the onion. So this is what happens. So we have an issue, which is an onion. And we peel the first layer off. That's the people involved, let's say. Then we peel the second layer off the onion. And that's the event itself, like what happened, who caused it, the basics of the situation. And that's the point when people get emotional. You know, their eyes start tearing up from the onion, you know, they start crying. It's really lame. But I don't, because I'm wearing goggles. So I keep peeling the layers off. And these people are stuck on the first real layer or second layer. You know, they're crying. Their eyes are watering, they're crying and complaining. So I keep peeling and I get to the core of the issue. I get to the idea, the point. I'm talking about something general. I'm talking about the principle, the idea behind something. And other people are arguing about who said what and what happened in this instance. So we aren't even talking about the same thing anymore. So what I want you to do is I want you to take your goggles and put them on so that when we start peeling this onion, your eyes aren't going to start watering and you aren't going to get all emotional. It doesn't matter who is involved. It doesn't matter who the drivers are. It doesn't matter how the car flips over. We're talking about if it's okay to cut the track. That's what we're talking about. So put your goggles on. Let's talk about the idea. Then I know there are people who want to get emotional and cry a bit. So then we can look at the video and see about this situation. Like what should happen in this situation? What's the right thing to do? Okay? You understand that? Does that make you a keyboard Jedi instead of a regular keyboard warrior? I think so. I'm more like Yoda, I feel. It's like I teach the Jedis what to do. Whole different level. So if you all got your... It's a question of IQ. It's a question of JQ. Most won't understand. Yeah. Anyway, I hope you're now all wearing your goggles so we can start. So this is now in general. We all know we have all had this happen to us, and we've probably done the same thing. We've just taken advantage of it, and it's not right. So let's look at the problem. Most people say, after those videos we watched, what most people say is, it's okay, the person waited, right? Well, when we race, we have rules. Rules are rules. Remember, I spoke about that in another Facebook Live. So let's think about rules a bit. What's a good rule? A good rule is one that's consistent. So whatever happens, it's really easy. You take the rule book, you see, okay, this is what the rule says, that's what we do. An example of a good rule is who wins a race. Okay, so a good rule would be the person whose transponder counts first wins the race. You look at the timesheet, this guy crossed the line with like 5 minutes and 1 second. So he wins because the other guy's transponder has 5 minutes, 1 second and 1/10. So it looked like they crossed the line together, but one guy's transponder has a lower time, he wins. Easy, right? But that's not enough. A good rule then has to also explain the really weird situations. What did Colin say? Just comes down to not being a damn muppet. Yeah, I agree. But it's not as simple as that. So a good rule also has to take into account situations where, let's say 2 people cross the line at the same exact time. The fucking RC God was equal for both. Like they both had equally big Jesus stickers on the car. And they just miraculously crossed the line so their transponders have the exact same time. It can happen. Believe me, it can happen. So if that happens, there needs to be a rule. What happens? Do they both win? Do we have like a double winner? Or do we watch a video? There needs to be some sort of clear rule. So we don't have to wonder like, oh, well, you know, we're going to do this today. No, there has to be a rule. The rule has to say, in the event that the cars cross the line, the exact same time, the transponders count the same time, then this happens. That can be, for example, we have 2 winners. Well, that's a problem if it's a world championship, for example. You don't want to have 2 world champions. It's bad enough when people call themselves vice champions. That's the lamest thing ever. You're the first loser. You lost. You didn't win. If the world champion gets sick, do you take over? Are you like, well, I was the vice champion, so now I'm the world champion because the world champion got sick? Fucking ridiculous. You were second, okay? So anyway, that's just a side note. So the point is, you have to have a specific rule for every situation that can occur. So let's say if two cars have that same exact finishing time, then you look at video. Most of the time you can tell. Nowadays we could have a really good camera showing the line, and then you look at that. Well, then there could be a situation where the transponders count so that the transponder shows that one guy's first, but looking at the video, the other guy's first. Then you have to decide, how do we do that? If the times are the same, we look at the video, but then if the times are different, we don't look at the video. Everything has to be clear. You have to think about these things, man. You have to make the rules super clear and simple, so no one can start speculating. Right? Consistent. Always the same. And every scenario has been thought through. That's a good rule. What if it's the final lap and the transponder doesn't count? Car 1 crosses the line, doesn't count, wins the race. Car 2 crosses the line, transponder counts. Who wins? You have to have a rule for that, right? You can't say that, oh, well, this guy clearly crossed the line first, but his transponder didn't count, the other guy wins. Then next race, you're like, well, you know, everyone saw he won, so he wins. Do you understand what I'm saying? Rules have to be clear. So this is one situation where the rules definitely aren't clear, I think. I would check the position of the transponder in the car, says Robert. Yeah, but that's like the drivers choose where they put the transponders. That's why you try to put the transponder as far forward as possible. So anyway, a good rule is one that's consistent and can always be applied, and you don't have to speculate and basically change the outcome depending on who's involved and how it happened. So now we start to talk about cutting the track. So the problem, a car flips over pipes into another lane and then waits and re-enters the race in the same position they were before they crashed over the pipes. It's irrelevant how this happened. A rule wouldn't take into account how this happened. It just happened. It doesn't matter if your Jesus sticker fell off and your car flips over. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you made a mistake. It doesn't matter if someone took you out. It's irrelevant. The only thing that's relevant here is that the car ended up in another lane. You wait and you enter the race in the same place you were before it did that. Robert says there should be a rule that everyone puts the transponder in the same place. Good idea, good idea. What if, someone's asking, before I continue, I'll see if there are any good questions here. What if track cut by driving incident versus incident caused by track, i.e. passing versus casing a jump, hitting a pipe, maybe a factor that could be considered? Yeah, that's kind of the point I was saying. That's irrelevant. How it happened does not matter. If you crash and the marshal picks you up, puts you on the wrong side, it doesn't matter. The rule should always be applied the same. Okay, so you end up on the other side and you continue in the same position you were before. Many people say, well, that's cool. You cut the track, but you waited, so you didn't gain an advantage. Yes, you did gain an advantage. You just erased the whole mistake. Whatever happened to you, whatever racing incident, whatever divine intervention occurred to your car, you just erased that. Because you just continued racing in the same position you were before this happened. And there is no one in the whole RC community who sits there and waits longer than required. Like, no one is going to be right behind another car, crash, and then wait for the other car to go by and wait even longer. Like, that does not happen. You will just re-enter at the same place, right? But let's think about this. So if you flip over the track, and then if you actually drove back or you waited for a marshal to put you back and then continued, you would now be a lot further behind the car in front than if you just wait and then continue behind the car. So you are gaining that time. Do you understand what I mean? If you're crashing over the barriers, and from that point on, if it took you, let's say, 5 seconds to get back to the other side and then continue, you would be 5 seconds behind the person you were behind before. So you just gained a 5-second advantage. You erased your mistake. Done. It's like in your lap times, you can't see a mistake anymore. And that's what people seem to think is okay. And also, let's think about some other scenarios. Let's say that that section that you don't do, let's say that it's just one corner, and like you flip over the pipe, and then if you did the lap, you would actually have to drive down the straight, do one corner, then come back, and then you're at that position you flipped to. Let's say that corner is really difficult. It's an off-road track, and there's some really difficult hip jump or whatever there. Well, if you don't do that, that's one less risky situation you need to do in the race. Maybe you would have crashed in that corner. Maybe you would have lost more time. Let's go one step further. What if that corner was the finishing line? What if the loop was there? So are you saying that it's okay to crash over the pipe, wait, and then continue? If you're saying that, then that should also apply if the section that you cut out is the section with the loop. Now, how do you get your lap in that position, in that situation? How would you get your lap? You don't, right? What if it's midway through the race and the race director sees it? Does he add you the lap? What if it's the last lap? How do you finish? Like, obviously you don't. Obviously you would have to go back and cross the line. And this is what I mean, consistency. You have to have a consistent rule. So all the people who argue that it's okay you waited, it makes no sense. No sense. Zero. No. Obviously that wouldn't be a good rule. You lost me at hello. Chris, you forgot your goggles. So we've concluded that, I mean, we have agreed, hopefully at this point, that you can't just crash over a pipe and wait and then go, and that's all good. It's not all good. Mostly races do that because we want every advantage we can get. If we can get away with it, then we just go. If a car flips over track and miss corner, driver have to wait for marshal no matter how long it takes. Yes, it sucks. And if you don't, you get penalty 1 lap. If someone takes you out, it sucks. You still have to do the same. A driver who took you out, he has to get a penalty. And of course, getting behind that car who this driver took out. If crash happens, it means you lose lots of time, and that's part of racing. Should be this simple. Yes, I agree. What if the guys you're waiting for crashes taking the section you skipped? Then what do you do? Well, Rick, that's happened. I've seen that happen. Then what happens is the guy who was waiting was like, well, I waited long enough, I'll just go. Yeah. Okay, so those reasons we spoke about are the reasons why it's not right, it's not fair if you do end up in a different section of the track that you just wait and go. There's no way that can be consistent. So it's not fair. So what's the solution then? Well, the obvious solution is the rule should be you have to go back. If you flip over the pipes, you have to go back. Like, you have to complete the whole lap, no matter what. Yes, you made a mistake. You got taken out. I don't know. A dog ran over the track. And you hit the dog and flipped over. Whatever happened, it sucks. It's racing. It happens. And it sucks. You just lost out. You're going to have to go back. But we are racers. Many racers don't really care about that. They're like, this is fair enough. I want to win. And they just go for it. That's why we should have referees. We kind of have them, but I don't know. It's rare that they do anything. So, what then? The referee should intervene. So you wait and you go because you feel like you were wronged. You don't need to go back. You lose too much if you go back. Well, the referee is the one who should look at the situation and be like, hey, you didn't finish your lap. You have a drive-through penalty, or you have a stop and go, or something like that. That would be fair. Then everyone's on the same page. Everyone understands. The rule is you have to finish the whole lap. You need to go back. If someone doesn't do that, the referee gives a penalty. And the penalty is then something which is, similar to you actually going back and doing it. So a stop and go, for example. We could call EFRA guys and ask what they think about it. Yeah. David Ronefok says that this is the on-road video I showed. We can actually talk about that after this. The guy at the Worlds was on the inside. The car got wobbly in those two corners. I think it wasn't that bad, honestly. That's what David says. Yeah, I agree. It wasn't that bad. But still, there needs to be some sort of rule. It can't be different every time. It sucked for the guy who flipped over the lane there in the on-road video. It sucked because he made a good pass on the inside, and yeah, shit happens. But it's racing. He also didn't complete the lap. How do I get the time back for the time I spent watching this video? Cody, you need to make better life choices. That's really what it comes down to. You can't get the time back, but next time you can be wiser. And you can choose to do a lot of different things with your time. One of those things is watching these videos. And if you feel like that's not a good choice, then you probably shouldn't watch. It's the best advice I can give. David is saying, okay, looks like we are starting to talk about this one incident now. This is what I'm saying. David wasn't wearing his goggles. He started crying. See, this is a good example. We're talking about the principle, the idea. And here comes David. He peeled the first layer off the onion and his eyes started watering and he started feeling emotional. That's where we're at right now. Luckily for him, I feel like we covered the main idea. So now we can talk about this incident, because we already said how something happens, it's irrelevant. You need to have a rule that's consistent and works for every single time. The rule can be you have to go back no matter what. That's the rule. And if you don't go back, then you've broken the rule and you get a penalty. It's as simple as that. And then the penalty, either it's always like a stop and go 10 seconds every time. That would be the clearest. Or then the referee can look at the situation. Like, did someone intentionally do something ridiculously dumb, gain a huge advantage, and continue? In that case, harsh penalty. If it's a racing incident, it's a good race, and everyone's being fair, something like that happens, they wait and continue, maybe then it's only a drive-through. That's up to the referee, but the rule should be in place. So if you don't complete the lap, you broke the rules. Done. You'll get a penalty. That should be like step one. Simple. Okay, now we can start talking about this incident, because that's clearly what David wants to do here. Some other people too. So he says, he was in the line and would have passed the blue car, but he came from outside and tried to close the gap. Red car got airborne and flew into the other lane. He gave it back to the blue car, which I think was okay. Yes, this is what people generally think is okay. But as we spoke about earlier, it doesn't really work out that way. Because the car that got airborne, even though you can argue that it wasn't his fault, the other guy closed the door, it's still racing. He still tried to go for an aggressive pass, and it didn't work out. So he needs to pay the price for that. He needs to go back. And if he doesn't go back, he should get a stop and go or drive through or some sort of penalty. Now he erased his mistake continued behind the car, and on the last lap, next to last corner, made a pass and bumped up. If he had gone back, he wouldn't have done that, and he wouldn't have bumped up. If he would have got a drive-through penalty, he wouldn't have done the pass, and the last lap wouldn't have bumped up. So by not completing the lap, by cutting that corner, he bumped up to the next final. That's what happened in this situation. David agrees the rules need to be clear. Yeah, man. I like your videos. David Brown, I like you too. You're a good guy. Are you American? That makes me even happier. Okay. Fuck onions. I agree. I don't like onions. Marshals are lazy as fuck. Yeah, actually now I remembered. Yes, good you said that. I need to talk about that American thing. But let's check these comments first. The lap where this happens has to be slower than the average lap for that driver. Well, that's really hard to determine also. See, I mean, yes, of course it should be, but how do you determine that? That's why if you do this shit, you broke the rules, you get a penalty every time. Don't even need to check the laps. You shouldn't be able to see a rule in different ways either. It needs to be so clear that there are no questions about it. Exactly, that's my point. That's how the rules should be. And every time a situation happens where some Spanish Franco or some mental midget from Malaysia or whatever the case, whenever a situation occurs where they make some decision that half of the people don't agree with, and half of the people read the rule and think one thing and the other half think it's something else, then the rule needs to be changed or updated. And I'm sure if people had done this from the beginning, then we wouldn't be in this situation anymore. How many years have we been racing these races? Like at this point, the rules would be so good that it's easy and simple. Really. Like it would be very rare for something to happen where you need to have a meeting and think about it and come up with a solution. Almost every time it would be simple. Brad Davis, let's see. I say do the wait for the car to get the position back that you would have gained advantage of. If they also crash closest driver estimation, then the standard rule should be 5 seconds added. The race director adds 5 seconds at the end of the heat qualifier main. That way, if you say you would have crashed in that section, 5 seconds is a good average for corner. Well, you see, you're getting too complicated now. Let's keep it simple. Your rule, you know what I'd do? I'd go over the loop, I'd cut the track, and then I'd wait for some other guy to do the lap. Then I'd continue and go over the loop. Okay, so I didn't do the lap and I get 5 seconds more added to my time. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, as I said, be consistent. Impossible to please, though, in a 5-minute race. Maybe in 1 8-hour long race. What do you mean? It's harder in an hour-long race. Thought factors of incident didn't matter. No, they don't matter. This isn't murder. You know, if you intentionally chop someone to bits with an axe, you kill someone. That's very different to you running a red light by mistake and killing someone in a traffic accident. Like, those are very different things. I don't think the penalty you get, or the jail time or death penalty or whatever, wherever you live, like, I don't think it should be the same, because one was intentional and the other was unintentional, right? But in racing, shit happens in racing. It doesn't matter if you intentionally jumped the pipe and then went, or someone ran you over and you ended up on the other side. That's irrelevant. Your motives or how it happens is irrelevant in racing. Only the fact that the car ended up in another lane, that's the only relevant thing. If someone takes you out and your car flies off the track, then they should get a penalty. Okay? That's a separate deal. You should come back and finish the lap. If you don't, you get a penalty. In off-road, it's easier because cars can jump over the pipes and get back in your position. Yes, that's why the clever clogs doing the rules should probably look into on-road and off-road specific rules. In off-road, there's no excuse, really. There's no excuse. You should always go back. On-road, dude, have you seen how fast those A-scale cars are? And they're not very good on grass. So it can be really sketchy to get back. It can be dangerous. So yeah, you would really have to look at that and see. In off-road, it's clear. You have to go back. In on-road, maybe there's some sort of other rule you can implement there. I don't know. Or maybe it's as simple as whatever that place on the track, the marshal can always get to it. The marshal can put it back over. I don't know. But I could agree to the fact that on-road and off-road could have slightly different rules. I've seen major track cut taken in response to a bad wreck, marshal, and people were okay with it. Yes, this is part of the problem. It's not okay. People somehow think it's okay. Like, well, this guy got really the wrong end of the stick, and he's a good guy, and it wasn't his fault, so we'll let it pass. Like, it's okay. No, that's not good. That's not fair. How's that fair? That's never gonna end. Just like David is saying, just like mine didn't work out on Canas in last corner this weekend. Yeah, he tried to pass some Spanish dude in the last corner. It looked cool in slow motion, but he got a 1 second penalty. New Spanish rule, I think. Erase mistake, but didn't gap for error. Exactly. Think about it from the leader's position. It sucks to be pressured by a kamikaze repeatedly who can do no wrong. If my aunt had balls, she would have been my uncle. Exactly. We have to avoid these situations where aunts with balls would be uncles. Or whatever. You get what I'm saying. Like, we have to be sure that there aren't these situations. What if? No. This happened, and that's the rule, and go fuck yourself. That simple, really. Nuno is saying, funny, I'm peeling onions now. Are you wearing goggles? Here comes the US hate. Uh-oh. Oh, yeah, I have to remember that. I'm going through the comments and then I'll tell you about this special, unique American thing. It's really weird. It's really strange. This will be my first America rant on Facebook. Wish me luck. More annoying and more cheating is deliberate. Slow marshalling happens all the time. Yes, it's a part of life. People are assholes. That's how it is. I always go above and beyond when marshalling, says Jerry. That's good. You're a good guy, Jerry, even though you're on a techno. How about the drugs? What drugs? What is this about? Is this like to someone else? I don't know. Blinders are for donkeys. These guys are discussing something together, not relevant. How about when it's not possible to go back to the point of exit due to track design? Well, that's when the marshal should put you back. Sometimes the marshals aren't paying attention. So these are the situations where you just get screwed. You'll get a penalty. Yeah, it happens. It happens. And even in a situation like that, the rule is clear. Yes, it's the marshal's fault. The marshal didn't see, so you just continue. You do the racer thing, the right thing. Like, I waited, the marshal didn't see, I went. Well, you still screwed. If the referee saw, then they have the right to give you a penalty because you didn't finish the lap. The rule is clear. Lap doesn't count, simple. Yeah, but see, that's like the death penalty, I think. I just don't agree with it. It's too harsh. Are we soon done with this issue? Yeah, just reading the comments here. I want to talk about Americans. JBRL has done a good job at calling out drivers. I wouldn't know about that. And car has to enter the track weight left it easy. Yes, exactly. That's the rule. And if you don't do that, then you get a penalty. Shame on the corner cutters. Real racers don't have to cheat. Yes, a 5-minute race is short. What if you can't give a stop and go? Then it also needs to be a rule, as we covered earlier. It needs to be clear. If you can't do the stop and go, just 10-second penalty, whatever. Write it in the rules. What's your thought on my past JQ? A bit off topic, but whatever. I only watched it in slow motion once, but it looked like from the video that there's no room. But then you could see in the video there was actually room. Like there was this special, and you don't even have a Jesus fish on your car. It's crazy, like how the gap opened up. I don't know how that happened. Maybe, I mean, that's why you're world champ, I guess. So Canas was going into that last corner of the track, and David just dove into the inside. So there must have been a small gap there. And then like mid-corner, the cars touched, and David nudged Canas out of the way, and then they finished. Now, watching that live, probably I would have been like, yeah, that's a penalty. That's like he just drove through Canas. Like that's not allowed. But seeing the video, I thought it was actually okay. Like I thought David should have got to keep his third place or whatever it was for, because he didn't hit the back of Canas's car. He hit the side. Like the side of his front wheel hit the side of Canas' car. That's how I saw it on the video. And that's fine. Like if you can get on the inside of someone and your wheels touch or your side touches and you are still on the track, I think that's fine. It's an aggressive move, but it's okay. It's like motocross. You know, motocross, it's hard to run up the back of someone. You know, mostly it's just some kind of take up. You go on the inside block pass, you go. The other guy maybe falls over. Maybe it looks crazy, like, wow, what a take up. But it's fine. You don't, if you leave the door open, if you give the other guy a chance to go on the inside of you, that's fine. That's racing. I think it's okay. I think David should have got third. Okay. Dude, there are crazy comments here. So many. In on-road, you take your responsibility. Okay, on-road's a bit different to this. Because on-road, you can basically intentionally take someone out like that, like what I just explained, relatively easily. So you can hit someone on the inside, like almost every corner, if you're a good driver. And that shouldn't be okay. Like on-road, you can literally just drive through people. And it's different to 8 scale, I feel. Because in 8 scale off-road, because we don't have enclosed bodies, it's different. Like it's not as easy to just drive through people, I feel. So you can tell from a video in situations like Canas and David what you should do, I feel. You can see if it's someone driving through someone or if it's an attempted pass. I think, yeah, it's harder, I think, to police in on-road than off-road. Off-road is more clear. Rick put a link. I can't watch it now. But he put a link to some track cut. Best pass ever was Ronnie Falk at Neo. I think that's the one where he was in the air and passed Tessman in the air. That was pretty cool. Okay, I caught up with the comments. Keenan is already planning the trip, JQ. Ronnie Falk is invited too. I must have missed the comment then. What trip? Where are we going now? I don't know where we're going, but apparently we're going somewhere. Okay, so the Americans. American marshalling. That's what I'm going to talk about. This is unique to America. I had never, ever come across this before I went to America. So normally what happens is marshals are either okay or terrible. Terrible marshals are the ones who aren't paying attention or they're intentionally slow. But then in America, something really weird happened. There would be these marshals who didn't quite understand the concept of racing. So it has something to do with this like American niceness. You know, when you go to America, everyone's so nice. It's crazy. It's almost like you get pissed off, like, can you stop being so damn nice? Everyone's like super, super nice. Always like, how are you doing? Oh, blah, blah, blah. Like, so pleasant. Crazy. On the news, you see they keep shooting everyone, like each other all the time. But if you actually go to America, you'll see that everyone is super nice. And this translates to, I had a term for this. I forgot what it was now. It translates to like, I had a good term for this. I forgot what it was. But it translates to marshalling, which is like too nice. It's too good. It's dumb. You are shooting yourself in the foot. So you race, and then after your race, you marshal. And you are marshalling people who you are racing. So if it's qualifying, then you are supposed to hope that they go slower than you, right? But I feel like this concept hasn't entered many people's heads. So I'm out there marshalling, and let's say someone crashes before a hairpin, or they crash before a jump. What American marshals will do is they marshal the car, but they don't put the car down where it crashed. They will put it on the other side of the pipe, so the driver doesn't need to do the hairpin. Or if someone crashes before a jump, they won't flip the car over before the jump. They will take the car and put it on the landing of the jump. And I'm watching this and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you are giving this guy an advantage because you are marshalling too well. Like, you are helping him. And that's your competition. Just marshal the car where it crashed, dummy. That, you know? It's weird. I never understood this. And it only happens in America. It's crazy. It's like, it's this American pleasant niceness. Just, that somehow it gets into marshalling. Like, it gets into the way of them thinking like, hey, this is a race. In Europe, go like to France or somewhere. Dude, they're not, like, they aren't even going to flip your car over. They're like, car crashes, they look the other way. That's the opposite. They're like, car crashes, oh, I was just looking over here and doing something and I didn't see your, oh, there's a car over there. And then they go marshal. Yeah, that's interesting. Have you ever noticed this? It's like only in America. Derek says, our fat turn marshals are a penalty in itself. And in F1, they cut tracks and don't enter back where they cut the track. Yeah, well, in F1, they can't do that. Like, some giant can't go in F1 and pick up the car and put it back. It doesn't happen, man. We're talking about RC racing. We're not talking about F1. Jason says about the American marshalling, we want you to do well. Yeah. Rick says, I take this behavior as eliminating the chance for other cars to hit the car that is being marshaled. No, that's I'm talking about something different. I'm talking about this like way too nice marshalling, where like you went above and beyond your duty, sir. You were supposed to take the car and flip it over. Not take the car and give him a fucking 4-second advantage because you're a nice guy. It's weird. I'm not kidding. Like, just go and watch a club race at OCRC and watch the marshalling. It blew my mind, seriously. Did I've even like I remember this one kid was doing this always. Like every race, he would marshal the cars like always so far forward on the track. I even told him after the race, I'm like, dude, do you understand that you're racing these guys? Do you understand you should just marshal the car where it is and not forward? Like, what are you doing here? Yeah, so American marshals, please understand. To make racing fair, you should marshal the car where it crashes, not fucking 50 feet down the track, okay? It's fine. They made the mistake. They're not going to shoot you. Maybe that's it. Maybe American marshals are afraid of being confronted and shot. That might be the problem. I don't know. And American marshals are super kind. Yep. I marshal as I want to be marshaled. I put them where they went off or as near as I can safely. I'm not concerned if they beat my time. More than likely, I left 10 to 20 seconds on the track from my own bad driving. Yes, Jerry, this is very true. Onion marshals. Yeah, onion marshals. I noticed the same at races. French guys kick your car. Yeah, yes, French, man. We have this guy, Max Full Throttle Johansen, on our team. He's crazy. He does the durability testing for reds, for the con rods. So if he crashes, he just pins it. And he doesn't care. So I missed this. I didn't see it. But he was, he obviously said he didn't do anything. But I kind of believe Yannick at this point. So Yannick was supposed to marshal his car, and Max was just like, pinned. So apparently, Yannick had tried to marshal it a couple of times or whatever, and then he just got mad and kicked Max's car like over the track or something. I wish I had seen it. I missed it. I didn't see it. But yeah, Yannick just kicked the car. Max was mad. But hey, don't hold the throttle wide open when the marshal is trying to flip your car. Yeah, someone's saying that marshals marshal a car kindly to avoid some other car hitting it. Yeah, we do the same in Europe, but we still just put the car where it landed. But here's another thing. This is actually worse than the marshals who are too kind. Being too kind, that's one problem. This is another. This is the idiot marshal who decides that they are going to determine when you can go. This is when I wish I had a gun, actually. Just kidding. No, I really hate this. So you crash. You're already mad that you crashed. And then comes along this hero marshal. Marshal picks up your car, but he doesn't put it down because there's cars coming. That's dangerous. So he holds your car. Okay? And he lets cars go. He's just holding your car like an idiot. And then you start revving it like, put it down, you idiot. And then he's looking at you like, what are you revving it for? Like, fuck. It's simple. I think if a marshals a car and holds it, even for a fucking second, they should get a penalty. The referee should be like, you hold the car, you get a 10-second penalty. Seriously. Because that's the dumbest thing ever. I'll never forget this. This was a 10 scale Euros. I ran a Durango. So you remember Gerd, the short guy who was always with Neumann, Jörn Neumann. So he built a car for me and I raced it. And for whatever reason, I was pretty fast. Like I was really fast in practice. The track was grippy. And then qualifying, I was fast in the first round. And then like with maybe 30 seconds to go, like next to last lap, they had these stupid bumps in the track and I could barely jump them. So I launched one of them too far, cased the other one and flipped over. Okay? Simple mistake. The marshal goes there, should have just put my car down. No. This moron, he took my car, he saw other cars coming, he took a step back, held my car. And I'm not exaggerating at all what he did next. He went like this to put the car down. He was literally like, the car was this far from the ground. He saw another car coming, he did like this. He went back and lifted the car up. At this point, I wish I knew German, because Gerd was going nuts. He was like going crazy. And then finally the guy put it down, and the whole thing cost me like, I can't remember anymore, but probably something like 6-7 seconds or something like that. It was ridiculous. Completely ridiculous. Like, it probably took like 2 hours for Gerd to really calm down. That's how bad it was. Yeah, I'll never forget that. That was so stupid. Incredible. So anyway, if a marshal holds onto a car and determines when you can go, give that guy a penalty. Seriously. That's so dumb. It's up to the driver to enter the track. If the driver re-enters carelessly and causes another crash because of re-entering, they get a penalty. But of course, you can't marshal a car by putting it down on the front straight in front of other cars. You have to use common sense, but don't hold it and determine, like, just put it to the side. Yeah, just fucking common sense, man. GQ is a rule lawyer. Yep. Mark Robinson, don't ever crash at a US event again. You just fucked yourself. Yes, I did, by saying that Americans are too kind. See, I said, it doesn't matter what I say. Someone's always gonna not be wearing goggles and they're gonna get mad and start crying. Okay, I need to catch up with the comments again and end this thing. A lot of comments. This is a serious issue. It's not Max Mört. It's Max Johansson. Max Johansson from Sweden. He is Mr. Full Throttle. Okay. Flywheel grabbers. Or scared to pick up the car. Yeah, flywheel grabbers are bad. We had a marshal throw the car out over a fence like a frisbee because the driver was yelling and holding it pinned. Yeah, I remember one time at Nitro Challenge this happened too. Yeah, that's always fun. That's always comedy. You're a real American hero. Was that directed towards me, Jason? Where is Gerd? He could trade some Durangos. Yes, he could. That would be awesome. Mike is saying, I get that, but what happens when the marshal just flips it right away and it causes a big pile up with broken cars? Well, I'm not saying that. Let's say you crash at the landing of a big jump. Okay? Marshal gets the car, looks, no one is coming, puts it down on the side. That's okay. That's fine. The point is, you always flip the car over safely as fast as possible. You don't hold it and wait for everyone to go. Like, that is ridiculous. Use common sense. Put it like on the side of the track, 4 feet down so cars won't land on it anymore. Like, there is always an area you can put it down. You don't need to hold and wait for everyone to go by. Turn marshals should not run back a flamed out car. It will screw over the next driver who crashes. Yes, I mean, there's actually rules for this. This happens in some countries where there's no rules for that. The famous hashtag flywheel touch. I hate when marshals do this. Another video I'm not going to watch now. You can all watch that. Don't crash and you won't have a bad marshal. Chris Austin, that is excellent advice. Completely stupid though at the same time, because even if you're a perfect driver, someone might take you out. Yeah, shit's always gonna go wrong. There's always gonna be crying, and you always need to get marshaled at some point. Sandals are also good to stop engines. So I had to run away in Italy. I can't remember what happened, but it just ran away. Full throttle, pinned on its lid. Sandro, genius as he is, he goes to the car, tries to turn it off by smacking it with his sandal. Ridiculous. He literally took his sandal off, and it's like he's going to try and do something genius. No, he starts smacking it with his sandal. Sandro. Sometimes I feel like there's no hope. Do Europeans hire marshals? No, but in Asia they do. Cheap labor. I hope Mark Stitson is watching this. Mark Stitson, you need to watch the beginning of this video. Seriously. He needs to learn something about me being a ref. Oh, I'm running out of battery. This always happens, doesn't it? That's a sign I need to end this. We've been going on far too long. I'm wasting my life here. Oh, crap. But I'm wasting my life. What about these 160 people are still watching? Yeah. I thought you were saying just to flip it right when you get to it, no matter what. I'm on the same page as you. Holding it for no other reason is not good. Yes, I did say that, because I was kind of exaggerating. I was making a point. I was trying to be funny. You spoiled the joke now. But yeah, you're right. If a car flips on the straight and there's 3 cars coming down the back straight, don't turn it over, because there's going to be a huge crash. Lift it up, cars go, put it down. Okay? Common sense. There has to be some sort of like common sense rule to marshalling. I don't know. That's a difficult to make a clear-cut rule, isn't it? That's hard. Where's Tyler Henderson? Did he die? Tyler hasn't been on here. Okay. I'm catching up. There are a few e-buggies here. I'm gonna check what's going on. Okay, we're not gonna check that video anymore. We don't really care. We don't care at this point who did what. It doesn't really matter. Someone tried to make a pass. The other guy closed the door. Who gives a shit? Common sense is very uncommon. Hashtag heck no takeover. Nobody listens to techno, Jerry. That's so 1980s. Jerry seems like a nice guy, but I mean, we all make mistakes. Need to forgive him. Okay, is there something else, or are we done? I'll put this video on DVD and send it to Mark. I know it's all Stitson. Oh, wow. Yeah, Jerry should trade that techno. Get $150. That would be a good investment. E-Buggy, thanks a lot. We're done. Remember to trade in all your cars, especially Durangos. Remember to spam Adam Drake. Just share this video, post it on his site, do whatever you have to do. Put a link in his how-to videos. Anything, just spam Adam Drake. Please. There's 145 people here. 145 people, spam him right now. It's going to be funny. Tyler probably farted himself to death, someone says. Yep, maybe. And what else? What else? Tomorrow there's going to be a more serious Facebook Live. I can't find the video of Degani marshalling at Silver State where he tried to jump over the cars. I can't stop laughing. I remember that. Can you imagine Degani jumping? It was basically like this huge lift off, like this preparation and huge jump, but he wasn't able to leave the ground. It was funny as hell. And the cars just went right by him. He got so lucky. So yeah, Degani can't jump. Yeah, I was saying tomorrow is going to be a bit more serious. I'm going to post on Facebook at some point when I'm going live. I think we're going to be talking about passion. We're going to be talking about what we're trying to do with JQ Racing, what our goal is for next year, and how this can actually affect your life. Serious. Especially if you love RC racing, if you want to be good, you need to listen tomorrow. Okay? So if you know anyone who has big dreams and goals for RC, some young kid who wants to do well, tell them to watch the Facebook Live tomorrow. Or Adam Drake. If maybe he wants to do well, you could tell him too. Okay. See you later.